Welcome back and thanks for checking out this video of my field trip at Giga Watt. It's been a while since I did another video. I'm going to be doing some exciting new videos on some miners and master nodes. Literally just an hour ago I got my upgrade. I'm a big fan of the Balcal miners. I had a Balcal miner 150 I got back last January. And that's been doing really well. So I got a 2000 mega hash. Fantastic. I'm loving it. But anyways, let's talk about the field trip. The Giga Watt field trip was really fun. I drove out from Western Washington out there. It took about 3 hours to drive. And we got to see the GigaPOD construction. And we're going to show you in just a second what that looks like. But unfortunately, not inside the GigaPOD. So they're located directly inside of the Port of Wenatchee Airport property, and their offices are inside of a flight school, and we can see this right here and kind of a vista of the Wenatchee Valley area. It was actually a pretty nice day. It was very sunny and about 79-80 degrees. It wasn't super hot that day. And there she is. That's the construction, and we can see that the GigaPOD exhaust fans are all mounted directly. And here's the entry door, which they actually do plan to have card keyed access. And the overhang that is used for sun protection and also protection from snow and the elements. Because this is where they're having their evaporated cooling system. So all the inflow of air is coming this way. And if you look, basically this area right here is pointing west. So the winds coming in are going to be directly flowing into the input, which is really good design. So I do have some audio discussion. They did not allow me to do any filming directly, and I didn't do it from beginning to end. So just a couple minutes here that day, and I was trying not to get any of the participants in the shots too, just the employees of the Giga Watt facility. So let's take a look and watch what they say.
Yeah, software controlled. We're software controlled power consumption, which they really love because that means that we can say, hey, we're going to consume this much power right now, 100% guarantee. And they say, oh, our load's too high. We dial it back. And so we did actually get the question of, well, how do you dial back the power? Well, we own equipment as well. So we dial our equipment back, we turn our equipment off, and let the customers keep mining. So that's really the gist of that.
You guys have I guess a 50-year lease on this land?
On this property, that's correct.
Not ownership?
No. This entire area is actually owned by the port. So it's actually technically airport property, and they will never actually sell it. So
Yeah.
it's as good as we can get.
They're going to have a power. And for this facility, we are going to have roughly 20 pods going around in the next 2 years. So we'll have a 30 megawatt farm going here. Like these, Ian was saying, we have 24 fans on this side, and directly pulling the air out from the other side with the misting cooling system. So when it's pulling, it's just getting cool air. And then, as you see, there's just going to be a giant wall with the chassis. This is a 12 by 48 frame, and so it's going to be able, if you know anything about the S9s, we should be able to house about 1,000 S9s in there. So when we go to our Moses Lake facility, you can see one of our commercial warehouses.
Great. So now, after that, what we did is we went off to Moses Lake, so they gave us some instructions on how to get there, and drove. On the way, I got to see one of the hydroelectric projects on the Columbia River. So this is one of the dams that are used to generate hydroelectric power for Giga Watt. So this is, I would say, this would be GigaPOD granddaddy. Okay, so this is the front of the GigaPOD, which is facing north, if I recall correctly. And here we can see the misters. It's kind of misty a little bit. We got a video coming up just real shortly here. We'll take a look at that. And this is the full length. Pretty much is a big, huge metal building with filters and an exhaust fans on the back. A bigger version of what GigaPOD. Okay, so now let's actually take a look inside. So inside they were not facing away, so they were perpendicular to the fans, and their plan is to move their hardware to the GigaPOD, which is being built right behind it. And if you go back in the video, you can actually see some people using one of those impact hammers for laying the foundation. But anyways, they plan to move it in parallel with the fans to keep it cool, correct? Once we were looking around, we got to here. I just took a snapshot of some Bitmain miners, and they're currently connected to some Antminer power supplies. It was a combination of Bitmain miners and even some old, like the Cilion script miners were there. I've seen a couple there. Most of what we saw there were GPU miners. And looking around, there was quite a few of miners. I can't imagine what they're hashing there right now. We did ask, and they didn't tell us how much they're making on that. But I would imagine pretty penny, even though not 100% of these were running, because you can actually tell from the fans were stopped or they were just spinning really slow, like when they're being initialized and not hashing. Here's a little snapshot of the power. One of the viewer questions that you had was, what are you doing about security? I think that was a big concern a lot of you did have, and rightly so. And what they're doing right now is everything's going to be completely fenced, and I think is going to be barbed wire too, or at least a perimeter fence completely around all the gigawatts. They do have video surveillance and on-site network operations there too. So they always have an employee on staff. It's also located at the airport. The airport has their own security and police, but the Gigawatt will not employ their own security guards quite yet. They are looking into that though. Buildings are completely metal, and the doors are reinforced, look like reinforced steel doors, and they do have card keyed access. So pretty good, I think. Now, the other thing that people are asking about is, will the tokens be on exchanges? And right now they are. There's at least one. The HIT BTC does have some futures, and I just bought some yesterday, and they were like $1.60 per unit, so they're a lot more than what I paid for during the ICO, which was around $1.05 to $1.15. The other question is, will you get more L3 miners? Well, they did, and they came. They came and gone, so they're coming back. The L3 miners were there. I bought 2 D3 miners from them, which I'm very excited. I got 2 of them for October. I did pay that premium over the November because I really do feel confident that November may be too late for the hashing returns, I would say. I do think I'll get that, was a $1,200 difference from October through November. But I'm speculating there. I don't know for a fact. I'm just guessing, right? I'm making a guesstimate. The other question was, will it be space for non-token holders? No, absolutely not. There's no plans for it, and really there's no plans to even sell miners to non-token holders. And that might change, right? There was a big demand for the tokens, and they did really well, I think, in their ICO. And we'll see what happens, but right for this point on, it's going to be only exclusively for token holders. What's the future of the crypto market? Really, they didn't have an answer for that. I did ask. And my personal opinion is that their business model is centered around proof of work mining. And if they were to do proof of stake, maybe they would do server hosting so that you could host wallets, maybe on a virtual server, kind of like, AWS for Amazon or Azure with Microsoft or Vultr. These services, perhaps. I don't see that. I think they're in the market of just renting out space for people to purchase to put their proof of work miners in there. Because all their miners that they're selling, of course, are proof of work. Now, as far as safety in the facility, it is a metal outbuilding that didn't have any vegetation around it, so I think the risk of fire would be minute. Any fire risk would be internal, of course. And they are fully insured from what they were telling me. I didn't verify that by saying, show me all the documents. Maybe I should, but I got a lot of other things on my plate. But the weather is pretty much, it's going to be winter storms, right? Like snowstorms out there. They do get pretty hot, but with the evaporated coolers, they do keep pretty cool, and there's always fresh air flowing through that. So they're even in their granddaddy facility, which isn't optimized for airflow, they're running at about 75 to 80 degrees Celsius on their miners, which is a little bit hotter than I like to run mine at home, but it is okay. It does work very well. And my biggest thing was not only insurance, which we talked about, but how do I manage my rigs, right? I mean, obviously, I can't just get a direct private IP or they give me a VPN. That would be way too hard. And what they're planning to do, and they're actually developing at the time of the visit, was they're developing an API so they can connect to a website. So you would log into your website, and you could either have them configure a pool and get your wallet set up, or you can do it yourself, which I thought was pretty nice. And so it's one of these things that they're really, they're building on demand, right? It's not hashed out and then available, right? So this is very much a startup company, and I definitely got that feel. Will the miners be available to non-token holders? Like I mentioned, no. I've only seen the new miners coming out as WTT exclusives. That might change, of course, but overall that's how that is. And how do you rent tokens if you don't use them? So right now, you can actually go to Giga Watt and set up your account, and you can set up your account to be two-factor authentication and username and password. But there are no tokens yet that I know of. I don't think they're going to release that until September 1st, I think is the first batch. My batches are available September 15th. So when I get my batches readily available, I'll walk you through on how to transfer those into your wallet, how you could rent them out, because it's all within the website right now. It's pretty nice. So that concludes my little report back. I hope you did enjoy it. I think I'm going to go out there again. I really want to see my miners when they're activated, when they're online, and hopefully even get some video of inside a GigaPOD. I would really, really enjoy that. So Giga Watt, if you're watching, let me video it. All right. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. Have a great day, everybody. Bye.